Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the various layers of covering are unlimited, and according to your ability to understand and go deeper, you're going to get to different stuff. You know, I can't do this when you take pictures of me.
But isn't there, I mean, I don't know. I'm not fully educated in any of this, so what I'm saying is just whatever I think right now.
Okay.
But if, I'm here right now, whatever this is, I'm here, and if I were to take an LSD or acid or a DMT or whatever to get somewhere else and be high or be a different way of thinking, and then 12 hours or whatever goes by and I'm back down here, and I see something or something speaks to me up there,
Right.
wouldn't I just want to keep wanting to be up there and keep wanting to be on
You
the
may.
drug?
Some people want that, but there's many aspects at play. One of them is that LSD and DMT is a chemical, right? It is forcing a reaction in your world. It's forcing something. So you have to then see these things that you may or may not be ready for, as opposed to a person that is already there, helping and guiding you personally according to what you need. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like ayahuasca or hachuma, San Pedro, or these sacred medicines that are used by tribal peoples for thousands of years to clear any type of head trips or trauma or problems and connect with the soul and the earth and everything like that. Is these sacred medicines are persons, and they're going to be sensitive to you and guide you, as opposed to forcing you. Like, for example, you have a cold or something, and you go to the store and you take this prescription strength medicine that forces you into an artificial state of health. That's what it is. But the key word is it's an artificial state of health.
Yeah.
It's not that it's actually curing the problem. It suppresses your symptom. So your symptom is being attached to this material world. That's your symptom of not knowing who you are. Is you're attached to the different aspects of the material world. Like, okay, I'm Prahlad, and I have this cool veg oil van and this plant here, and I'm on the world tour selling these Krishna books. And I ask the kids for money and give them books and stuff and say this is cool. And that's my false ego. That's a bunch of bullshit. I'm not that guy. I'm an eternal spirit soul, and I'm here to learn love and connect with other people on the platform of the heart, So the same way, these mechanical things like DMT or LSD or Sudafed or whatever it is, are mechanically forcing you into a so-called hallucinogenic state, or a metaphysical state where you're looking at the fabric of the universe in ways that you can't see normally, because if you did, you wouldn't be able to function and have the experiences of hate and love and purifying the heart. You know what I mean? Because how can you, if you're just in God all the time, oh yeah, I understand the secrets of the universe. Well, you don't actually, but you've been forced into this state. I don't know if I'm making sense. So you've been forced into this state, by these chemicals, but you really have to work on your heart, and you have to do that work on your heart, and if you're totally dialed into the secrets of the universe, because you're not full yet, you're not a whole person yet, you know what I mean? Then so you have to work on that, so the chemicals, they override the personal work that you have to do on yourself, and they just push you into this state that you're not ready at. That's why when you take LSD and DMT and all these different things, all these heavy so-called hallucinogens, they're not really hallucinogens. You're seeing things that are real, but they're real on a platform that you can't understand. And so then when you come back to the platform that you're actually on, with all your crap in your heart that you haven't worked through yet, then you can't take that with you. It's like, wow, I realized the secrets of the universe, and then I came down and forgot. Yeah. And so why? Because you're coming to you're not there, man.
Yeah.
You just took a drug that forced you there. You're not in health. You're
Yeah.
sick. You took this freaking Sudafed or some other crap that the doctor gave you, extracting
you
a
the sick-
chemical
yeah.
to suppress your stuff. So the LSD and the DMTs and all the chemicals, they suppress your stuff, your real work. And then they show you this freaking beautiful wow dimension, and as opposed to the sacred medicines, like ayahuasca or San Pedro or something like that, they will dive you into your issues so that you can fully manifest on the highest platforms. But you have to work through your issues.
What about,
So, go ahead.
I was going to say, what about, like, I mean, I suffer with anxiety and panic attacks a lot.
Uh-huh.
I'm frightened that if I get to there, I'd fall into an anxiety attack or a panic attack. And then when I'm finally back out, I'm just not the same person that I once was. And not, like, in a good way, that, like, I saw something to benefit my life, but something that could scar me or, like, harm me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm more afraid of doing the drugs of what may happen. Like, I fear the unknown, basically, I guess. Like, I don't know what will happen if I take it. Like, I don't know if it'll be good or bad, whatever I may see it good or bad as. And then I come back down after 12 or so hours, or whatever it is, and then I'm just this completely, like, different person that.
With a scar.
Not in a beneficial way, where it's like, oh, I saw all these great, beautiful things, and now I'm kind of understanding more. It's like, wow, like, I'm frightened that that's what happened.
So if you're taking LSD or DMT, these aren't people. These are chemicals that are forcing you into something. And yeah, that's scary, because they're forcing you into something that you may or may not be ready for.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you have ayahuasca prepared with sacred mantra, and the stem and everything was picked with offerings to the earth and recognizing of the spirit. So it's just like, for example, if you're talking to somebody and like you're on tour and somebody goes and they like you, they say you do YouTube videos, yeah? So they saw your YouTube videos and now they see you at your booth and they're like, wow, cool, and they want to buy your shirt or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, okay, you're just another person that I'm going to sell you the shirt and I'm going to take your money, and it's just this mechanical reaction. Now, what's the heart space in between you and that person? There's nothing. It's just a mechanical thing. So as opposed to if you go and you're like, oh wow, here's this person that somehow resonates with me, and you take some time and you're like, oh wow, hi, who are you, and you just sit, in your heart, you know what I mean? And there's then a relationship going on,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to a mechanical thing. So then you can actually have an exchange. So the same way, if you treat the medicines that way, if you recognize it, or a better example is a girl. If you have a girlfriend and you just mechanically, do something with her, as opposed to sitting and spending personal loving time and dialing into each other, it's a whole other experience. So the medicines are people, they're sacred spirits, and when you recognize that, these sacred spirits manifest themselves, and they come to help you. They're your friends. They're not going to do something to you that you're not going to like, that's going to trip you up. They know what your problems are because they're medicine spirits, keyword medicine,
Mm-hmm.
They understand, okay, this guy has anxiety, or this guy has this problem, I was at an ayahuasca center and the one lady was raped and stuff, and so the medicine worked with her and very gently helped her move through that and go through those experiences and process them through in a way that was healing. Yeah, it's scary to face those things, but when you have somebody who loves you, is going to hold your hand through it, then it's like, wow, I have a friend, I can do this, I'm supported, I'm nourished. They understand where I'm at because they've helped so many bazillions of people through these experiences already. So like some people, they take ayahuasca medicine and they're doing it in a very superficial way. Oh, I want to take ayahuasca because it's cool and I can go home and tell my friends I took ayahuasca, and or it's just another drug, But even those people, they wind up usually, being healed also because the medicine understands that's where they're coming from. But, but to make the point, so they take it this way, and maybe the medicine shows them some deepest realms of hell. That's scary. I mean, people freak out, Because why? Because they first of all weren't approaching it in the right way. So therefore, they get a guide or a shaman or whatever that's not going to hold space for them and keep their, you have to have somebody, if you're taking ayahuasca, you have to have somebody holding your space, having a good environment, kind of protecting you, shielding you from bad energies like that. And if a real shaman, a real curandero or ayahuasquero or whatever, he will, through his songs, he can guide your experience. Actually,
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. Just like a dial on a radio, he can change your channels. He says, okay, let me help you through this experience. Let me, turn it up, turn it down. Let me bring you from this thought to that thought, And he sees, what do you need to experience? And he works through those things. Why are you having? It's that you're saying, oh, I have this particular thing, like you said, anxiety.
Okay, that's who you are.
Well, where's the anxiety coming from? Right, so we don't know. So the ayahuasca will find where that came from and cure the root of it.
Force you to deal with it, force you to confront it and deal with it and work with you through it.
You know what I mean? So, like, for example, I had some issues with my family, right? That some traumatic, exchanges when I was a little tiny child, and things that happened to me, and then after that, because of those traumatic experiences about like making decisions or whatever it was, they forced me to make some really heavy decisions that a little child shouldn't have had to, go through, and so I had difficulty ever since then. Whenever there was a decision I had to make, a choice, I'm at the grocery store at like Whole Foods or something, and there's like 5-6 types of rice. Oh, I got to make a decision. I start freaking out. It's just a freaking just buy a type of rice, right? It was, no, I have trauma that way. So I could go back and see, well, why do I have trauma with this particular thing, like anxiety? You have anxiety. Like I would trip out if I had to make decisions on any decision. So then I traced it back. Where is this coming from? Where's the root of it? And I found the root of it was because when I was a little tiny child, when I was like 5 years old, my parents made me make these horrible decisions and stuff, really evil stuff.